such a pleasure to interact with you. I remember I got this book last year, and since then I've read and read it, and now I'm using excerpts from the book in my classes. So before I begin the session, I would like to say the book that we're going to discuss today, Raj Kapoor, The Master at War by Rahul Rawail. It's a must-buy, and in my long years as a film critic and then an editor of startups, and now moving into the research and academic space, I haven't found a more resourceful book on cinema that has been like, most books on cinema tend to be very academic, whereas this is all experiential. And I think that's what makes it unique, and I hope it inspires more filmmakers to write books like this, write memoirs like this, that also tells you so much about this process of filmmaking that we have. So, sir, my first question would be, how did this book come about?
See, I just finished my senior career exams from school, and that's in December. And Raj Kapoor, Chintu, was a very, very good friend. And he called me and said that we grew up together. And he said, you finish your exams now. So Dad is starting shooting the Russian portion of Minan Junction at Bombay with the Russian circus people who come. So come across, let's go to the shooting. There's lots of girls there wearing very skimpy clothes. So it will be good fun to go and watch the girls. So the whole intention was to go and watch skimpy clad girls, Russian girls, and spend some time there. But when I went there, though I had seen shooting before, because my father was with me. When I went there and I saw Mr. Raj Kapoor at work, it was mesmerizing. You seeing the man was like seeing any great conductor conducting an office. One man controlling 500 Russian and Indian circus artists, crowd of 5,000 people, spectators, his unit, and the man knew exactly what he was doing. So, unfortunately, my mind wavered away from the girls, which I regret to some extent till today. And I just stood there watching him all the time. And when I went back home, I decided I'd come back late in the morning again. See, I had a holiday for about 6 months. Because I was, it may sound odd to you, I was always wanted to be a nuclear scientist. Right. And I was supposed to go to Canada for that. But I had 6 months off, and I told my mother, I said, look, instead of just winding away my time, maybe I can go and work with Mr. Raj Kapoor. So, my father went and met Anjaam, and he's of course more than welcome. And he said, I've been seeing him. He's been coming every day, not even talking to me, just sitting in one corner, but I've been watching him. And he told me, you're most welcome to start working with him. And I am told that you want to become a nuclear physicist, but let me tell you one thing. This industry, once you get caught into it, you're never going to go away. And I guess that is what happened. So from wanting to be a nuclear physicist, I became a filmmaker, and now I've written a book. I don't remember anything about nuclear physics. Neither do I remember the spelling of the word physicist or nuclear. And so that's about what I'm glad. I'm glad for what I do.
Well, nuclear scientists would make some bombs. I think you have given to the industry some very talented firework actors, like as we all know, Rahul sir has launched some of the biggest stars of our times, like Kajol, Sunny Deol, Aishwarya Rai, Paresh Rawal, Kumar Gaurav. The list is endless. वो भी किसी बम से कम नहीं है. अच्छा, अगर हम हिंदी सिनेमा की बात करते हैं, इंडियन सिनेमा की जब बात करते हैं, we generally talk about two schools of filmmaking. एक होता है सत्यजीत रे and the other is Raj Kapoor. I mean, the ultimate showman, a template for the perfect masala film. But given the fact of your close encounters with Raj Saab, where do you think his influence is?
One, though, I am very much of this opinion that he had got script. This filmmaking was got script. A thing he was very conscious about was that his story must have, must have some kind of social meaning. So that's been there in all his films. And he had a great sense of music. And that's again one thing where he could play every single you can think of. He'd play that, and his knowledge of pure filmmaking, I think, is unparalleled, because he's one person who knew the 360 degrees about film right now. And of course, Mr. Safi one knows about him, and he and Raj Kapoor were both like saying.
That's an interesting insight, like not many would know, but they did appreciate each other's work.
Oh yes, a lot. So Raj, I'm just thinking of, he would appreciate any filmmaker's work, and he was very well versed with him, very well. In fact, whenever he used to go out of India for a holiday, most of his time was spent in Washington. When Godfather released and he came back from America, he was enamored with the film. And he said, I stood in a queue for 11 hours to get a seat for the film. So he was completely fascinated.
And that's something like pretty much the film festival culture. But you have also mentioned about some of the idiosyncrasies of Raj Kapoor. Maybe if you could share the fun part of it, and of course the one on the black label and other things.
He had his quirks. Okay, every genius, I think, is quirky. And apart from this, I think anybody who wants to work in this industry must have a certain amount of in him, has maybe some madness. He had a very strange sense of humor, in a sense. He did not have a sense of humor at all. He was terrible on the sets. I mean, we used to tremble on the sets, thinking that the boss is here. I used to literally tremble. No, I could not know how to react. And at times, when he screamed, then it was really trouble. But he had certain things which were funny, which were his food habits. Like, I've seen him eating a jalebi. In Bombay we have this thing called pav, which is bread, which is split open from the center. So I've seen him eating a jalebi put in a pav and dipping that into tomato ketchup and eating it. Why? He had no reason for it. But that's what he liked to do. And he was also convinced that he's the only man in the world who drank a genuine black label. And he called me over, and if I proper meet him and we'd ask him for a drink, he would get his own bottle. He'd got 2 bottles. One would give to me, and one he would take. So I said, why would you do 2 bottles? He said, no, the bottle I am drinking from has been brought by me in England. So it's a genuine. And yours is got the good flavors here, which also I pay a lot of money for, but it's not the original. So that's the way I am. And he had these quirks, and he would say anything to anybody. There's plenty of these incidents of his.
Also, Rahul, when you talk about quirks and creative people go together, because sometimes that hunch that you have or the hunch that you put on something or a project or a person, not everybody agrees, and you have wrote that beautifully. And one of the anecdotes in your book about how Dimple Kapadia was casted in Bobby, and you write that you were also part of the auditioning process, and you said that nobody was confident that whether she should get the role. And Raj Kapoor says that what I can see in her, you don't have the capacity to see. So could you tell us something about how he selected the heroines for his project? Because I think he gave them very strong characters also.
See, what he had in mind for the heroine of Bobby, it was something in his mind. He was not the kind of person who would put it in writing or anything. He had things in his mind. And we auditioned plenty of girls, plenty. And he just did not. And there was this one girl, Dimple, whom I knew well. It was my cousin, and their family were neighbors. Cousin kya hai to wo regularly, and then she was a good looking girl. So I said, doctor. And but they came on the set one day, I told him I can just drop it. And then Raj said, this girl seemed quite nice to me. I said, she is, and I talked to her. He was like, if she understood that. And we auditioned Dimple. When we saw the adjustment, to me it was bad. To me it was that this is not meant for cinema. And it was not only me, everybody, including Mr. Ranjit, and everyone felt the same thing. He said, no, this is the girl. And we had these long arguments saying that this is not the girl. And finally he said, look, what I'm seeing in her, you people can't, because that's why you're an assistant director, so I'm a director. Right? So this is the girl I'm taking. And we said, fine. I mean, you don't argue with the boss. And but finally, when we saw how he brought her across on screen, I mean, things like if he wanted her hand to come down on a table at a particular dialogue, he would go over and over there to see to it that she does it. He would definitely do that. And when he came across, it was wonderful to see her. And we all, of course, had to eat our words. There was no doubt. And there was no doubt that it was a thing. And history at times repeats itself. Because when I decided to take Kajal in Behudi, there's an old associate of mine, Vishesh Arora, sitting in front. and he's from Bhubaneswar. He worked with me as an assistant in Arjun, right? No, Dacait, from Dacait. And when I decided to take Kajal and I auditioned her, people did not like the audition. I don't know about him, even I'm sure he also somewhere, they felt that she's not right. But something told me that, no, she's right. That's how history gets. See, what he would do is he would create people through watching all his old films. That was the regular thing. And especially, we made her watch Nargis, because that's the kind of performance which he expected. So, it all turned out very well for her. That was brilliant. And all credit to the filmmaker himself.
And also, Bobby of course became a big blockbuster, and it comes right after Mera Naam Dacait, and that's considered to be a very challenging phase for Raj Rawail. So I will split this question into two parts. One, which do you think is the most underrated film of Raj Kapoor? And the question would be, why do you think Mera Naam Dacait didn't get that response that it deserved? Because now it is considered as a classic and perhaps a finest film, and it also won the Filmfare Best Director Award that year.
Yes.
But why do you think generations didn't get that and only got it after?
The underrated film of Raj Kapoor, I would not be able to pick out anyone, because even the ones which he produced, like Jatara, and did not direct or wonderful. I directed a film for him called BUV, which I know people, I think it was a wonderful film throughout. But he, as a filmmaker also, I don't really find any particular being underrated as far as he's concerned. And the second part of the question was on Mera Naam Dacait, not doing well. This is absolutely personal. See, when we first edited the film, it ran for 5 hours, which is too long. And when we were seeing it in the paper, and Rata was standing behind, he saw us stand behind while people are seeing the film. And he somewhere realized that it's too long. So I said that he told me that, listen, go to the production and tell them after reel number 18 to put reel number 23 straight away. So you missed out 19, 20, 21, 22, 4 reels. And it has not made a difference to the narration. So that's when you realize. And I think what happened was the portion of Rajendra Kumar and Vijay, that is the part which really disturbs people. But he had his own thing. When we all told him, he finally brought it down to a length of about 4 hours plus. And he said, look, to me, this is the correct length of the film. And I will only realize it that's too long when the audience who's paid and bought a ticket says it's too long. And then it will be too late for me to. So we have to go with what my opinion. It really did not work, which was a big setback.
Maybe in today's day and age, when we have the concept of a long film being broken into 2 parts, 1 and 2, or the OTT to them, work better because of the episodic nature of the film itself?
I don't know because you see, OTTs are a different ballgame completely. I really don't think that OTT and cinema is the same. They have to be treated as two different things completely. Raj Kapoor had even split Sanam into two intervals. Sanam had two intervals. So did Joker. Did Joker have two intervals or three intervals?
I think two intervals.
Two intervals? One after Chintu's, one after Chintu's, no, one after the circus episode, and then one towards the end. So that had worked in Sangam, it did not work here. So we really can't say that break in the interval was right or wrong. But it was a very, it was a major setback for him because he had to make another film for filmmaking. It was very difficult. He had mortgaged everything he had, including his wife's jewelry, his properties, every single thing he mortgaged into making his next film. And when he decided to make his next film, and he said, he called the unit and said, I make a film called Bobby with Chintu and a new girl. And our financial controller said, sir, who will see the picture? You know, we got so much loss and every hero heroine wants to work with you. So why don't you make the same story with Dharminder and Hema Malini? So he said, I'm talking about a teenage love story. He said, so what? He said, people are not entertained. So he said, no, I will make it this way. And then when he shot that film, he never worked with this thing in the mind that he was running short of money. He shot it exactly the way he used to. And he used to work only the day he felt like shooting, or he would have a party. That's what Raj Kapoor's all about.
And then, as they say, the rest is history. So before we throw up some questions to the audience, I just want to read an excerpt from the prologue, the dream chapter. And do you think what he wrote in 1980s is still relevant today? So I'm just going to read from the book where you quote Raj Saab. He says, do people nowadays know what it means to make a film? Nobody makes films anymore, barring a few conscious and genuine filmmakers. 90% of the so-called filmmakers are not making films, but are only assembling films. And I think that's a very strong statement. The state of the film industry is in despair. I lived in the golden period of cinema where people actually strive towards making a film. There was passion involved in the filmmaking process. But now the passion is in assembling a product for numbers and figures, a disastrous situation which has led to the deterioration of cinema. Filmmaking has ceased to be a creative process and is now a mechanical process. I believe today's writers should be called typewriters. They sit at computers typing a script, or better yet, the computer dictates the script to them. I mean, that's what AI is going to do now. Directors, while shooting, sit in front of a television screen and decide whether it's good take or not. Is this how films are made? And then you write your own thoughts on this. His words struck my heart, and I was taken to the time when filmmaking was more than just about the money. It took me back on a journey to the past when films were being made with utmost precision. It took me back to 8 December 1968 on the sets of Mera Naam Joker, the day I first saw the immortal master weave his magic. So do you think really there is no hope?
What he said was very right. Today, we stopped making films. We don't make films. We are shooting numbers. You know, everything is based on numbers only. You know, we talk about Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So where the hell does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they are not considered as a calendar. Is stupid. I agree that economics and finance is very important also, but it cannot be the number one criteria. You are after all working in a creative space where monies cannot hold you back. Look at the filmmakers of those times. Look at Chaos who made even today nobody would have the guts to do that. Or Raj when he did his early films, like he did Avara way back in
51.
Yeah, it was, and that dream sequence. I don't think anybody ever seen a dream sequence like that, because his view was very inconsistent. The characters of a man who is down saying he doesn't have money. So when he dreams, his dream will always be big. And that's why the dream sequence is so big. And the villain who appears, the villain in life, he is bigger than his dream also. So that's where this is the way he fought. This is the right way. We are, and I think these VFX has ruined a lot of creativity because people are treating it as a joke, and I think AI is going to kill it further.